What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis video. Alright guys, with the massive news that came out from the Japanese live stream this morning, I am ecstatic. And there's something I want to talk about now. And I think it's a fair thing to talk about because we've been, a couple of weeks through the game now. Everyone's thrown their opinions about it and I want to give mine. Okay, so now that I've had enough time to play on my free-to-play account, which I'm currently on now, and you guys know I have a main account which I've paid for, I want to give you guys my take on this game. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I care about my guides, I care about my community, and I care a lot about being a role model for others because I'm 40 years old, I've got kids, and I know how much somebody who has a platform can influence others' opinions. So this is something I think I'm going to just talk about right now. So when I first started playing this game, actually before the game even came out, I made a video saying that I'm going to start spending on this game. Here's the reason why. It was a personal reason, financial reason. I gave you guys my whole thing. You guys can watch that whole thing. But I did promise you guys I'd be making a free-to-play and a pay-to-win account. And the reason why I do this in games is because I want to gauge the actual pay-to-win aspect by having to compare to my free-to-play. So this is my free-to-play account. Okay, I've been now 13 days officially on here. If you guys watched this morning's video, I did a Ifrit very hard run yesterday at 99k and beat it. Okay, when I first did Ifrit very hard on my main account, I was 130k. This was a much easier experience on my free to play. The reason why, obviously, because I learned from my mistakes. There you go, very very hard on both of them. I did both this morning as well. I did the second one this morning. One thing I want to talk about real quick, okay, before I go any further, actually, don't make the same mistake I made. Make sure if you're trying to get Hellfire unlocked, I was still on Shiva Bind. I forgot to switch back to Ifrit, so I had to redo the fight, and then I realized it's only very hard one that gives you the achievement. See here, I'm on Shiva. If I go back here, I now have Hellfire unlocked because I did it, but originally I was on her, and because if you're on her and not on this, the actual achievement doesn't count, so make sure you switch back properly, okay? So I want to talk about the actual game itself. So when the game first came out, as a content creator, you see a lot of different people's opinions, right? You hear the opinions of a lot of folks who either love the game or hate the game. So let's talk a little bit about how that kind of turned out. So right now, there are those who still to this very day think this game is pay to win. I'll be honest with you guys. If you think this game is pay to win, straight up, you haven't played enough gachas. Okay? I can name Raid Shadow Legends. FF7's a really good example in the beginning, much better now. Tower of God. Talking about now games, right? I can Street Fighter Duel. Like, there are so many, like, and I've played, we're talking about 10 years worth of actual gacha games. And I've covered like 2 years worth of them as well. Naruto Ninja Tribes. You know, My Hero Academia when it came out. Like, you guys name it. Those games are a lot more pay to win. Okay? This has got to be one of the most generous, and I know a lot of people are going to say, Payne, it's still the honeymoon phase. Let me hear me out, okay? This has got to be one of the most generous devs. If you play Nier Reincarnation, you kind of know how Applebot works, or Applebot, saying the name, because I covered that game as well too 2 years ago, right? When it first came out. I covered it for a couple weeks and I loved it. Had to quit because I just didn't have time to keep playing it. But the devs have been fantastic, and I think the reason why Square Enix has such an investment in this game, number one, because it is the Final Fantasy 7 brand, which is the pinnacle of Final Fantasy for the franchise, right? 7 is the king of the franchise, and also because Rebirth is coming out very soon. And what they plan to do, in my opinion, is have a lot of mobile players get so invested into this and the characters and everything, and go and play Rebirth as well. This is a marketing genius idea to have mobile gamers become console gamers, right? Or whatever the case, just buy the game for whatever platform. So I think the generosity has been, number one, incredible, and number two, I think it's going to continue. For those who think that this game is still in honeymoon phase and is pay to win, I don't understand that concept, because here's the thing. As somebody who has a free to play account right now and is almost caught up to his main account, which is a pay to win account, $450. I mean, not that massive, but I don't even need maxed out weapons to do well. Like, it comes down to strategy and timing and everything. And now that they've shown how they plan to handle the leaderboards, it's even more reassuring that this game is taking the right path for all players. Because if you didn't check out the video, the leaderboards are going to give the top 10 a title, a frame, 20 gacha tickets, and some gems probably. And then top 11 to 100 gets the title, gacha tickets, the same amount I believe, and maybe a little bit less gems. And then top 101 and below just don't get the title or the frame, they just get everything else along with it with a lower quantity. That's fantastic. What more could you ask for? You're still playing the game, still enjoying it, still being part of the experience, but getting yourself rewards along the way. This is not a competitive natured game, and a lot of people think that's a problem, and I don't think that's an issue. I think if anything, a game like this is required in an industry where it's all about competitiveness. I think having the ability to coexist with community members, having the ability to have whales and free-to-play players play together and not have them butting heads on a constant basis, which unfortunately that's a community-based issue. I think mentally people just have problems. I don't understand the whole like, oh, you're a whale, you don't know how to play the game. Like, all right, so like, you know, there's a prime example. I had somebody's comment today being like, oh, you're talking about like all this character's weapon and what it can do. Well, not everyone's gonna spend money. I'm like, bro, like literally you click on a weapon, you can click the arrows and it'll show you what every weapon does. It's built into the game. Like, so it's one of those things where like I think the community has this weird mentality. Some of the community, like a very small portion, majority of us we're all about this. And I think those are the members that are eventually gonna quit because they're just not meant for these gacha games, right? This game is doing it right. The only thing it really lacked was a little bit of content, which I think they're bringing out now with leaderboards, brand new dungeons, and the brand new Sephiroth boss that's coming out October 6th, which is super exciting. And now the child Sephiroth is dropping with a brand new banner. That's even more exciting. So this is just to prove to you guys, getting very hard Ifrit done with these weapons here wasn't an impossible task. I'm planning to tackle very hard Shiva next, right? So like, you don't need maxed out weapons. This whole concept of like, oh, you have to max your weapons, blah, blah, blah. Not to mention, they gave us 2 really good weapons through events. And I don't care what people say. If you don't understand how good these weapons are, then you're not playing the game right. This boost HP, this boost magic defense has saved my ass in battle towers and in very hard modes for all the summons where I had no business being there as a free-to-play player. So I know I've had a lot of flack in the past being like, oh, you're promoting these weapons, they're shit, blah, blah, blah. They're not shit. They may not be the greatest for co-op, for example, if you're doing a DPS race, but there's no DPS race. These weapons are actually good weapons to help you survive and beat content. If you don't understand that as a player, then you're not playing the game right, in my opinion. And if I'm not proving that you can do free-to-play and be successful without paying, but you can also be successful and pay and have fun, I think both sides of the story are valid. And I don't think Square has made us or forced us to pick a play style. And that's the beauty of this game. And I think they need a little bit more credit. People were officially like worried about running out of tonics. Like, oh, we don't have enough stamina. You guys were probably using auto clickers. No offense. I know you guys were. Or if you weren't, you were just grinding 24/7. And that's not what the mobile gacha industry is about, right? It's take your time, enjoy the game. Now people are saying the opposite. Like, I've got too many stamina tonics. I don't know what to do with them. People are quitting because they're getting too many. So it's like, it's crazy to me to hear the 2 different sides of the stories. Let's just be real. This game has done a fantastic job. Number 1, keeping the community happy for the most part. Number 2, giving us the option to be free to play or pay to win without forcing us and throwing advertisements all over the place and packages. Big ups to Square for that and Applebot, right? And 3, for those who complained that there's not enough content, you're getting more, right? I don't think this is a honeymoon phase. I feel like this game is going to continue on this path and this trajectory to continue growing and being as generous as it is, because again, they've got a lot on the line with Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth coming out, and I promise you, you're probably going to see a massive like promotion when that game drops to try to get a lot of us to go play that game as well. Then we can double dip. They're going to make their money off that console game. Here, it's up to you whether you want to spend. You don't have to spend. Take your time, be strategic, and you'll do well. So for me, guys, this game is absolutely killing it. Big W all across the board. One of the most generous gachas I've ever played, and I've played thousands of gachas. And I'm talking about, like, I've played some of the best, some of the worst. And this ranks up there as one of the best, most generous, like, no pay to win gachas up to this point. What happens in the future? Of course, things can change, but as of now, I'm very happy at how this has been going. Alright guys, this is Payne. Let me know what you think about the game. where your mind's at now with the live stream being over, and what your thoughts are in terms of how they've done so far. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.